Well, sir, it's late afternoon as we enter the small house halfway up in the next block now. And here in the living room we find Mr. and Mrs. Victor Gook and their son, Mr. Rush Gook. Vic and young Rush are established on opposite sides of the library table and until a moment ago briskly played at rummy. Sade, however, has just issued a news bulletin completely paralyzing the game. Listen.
Why, I thought you'd be delighted. And look at your faces. Jaws dropped down on your chest 9 feet.
I don't see why my jaw should drop. Matter doesn't affect me.
Affects all 3 of us.
I beg to differ.
Well, this is astonishing. I'd have bet my shirt you 2 fellas would dance around the house with joy. What's eating you, Mary Sunshine?
Nothing.
Sitting there so glum a person would think you'd lost your best friend. You're not overjoyed at the prospect of having your own garden?
It's already my garden, huh? Only been in the family 6 seconds, and already it's my garden.
Somebody knocked me over with a feather.
What prompted this sudden surge of generosity on Miss Harris's part?
Somebody knocked me over with a feather.
I don't mind helping around a garden once in a while, but I don't want an entire garden hung on my neck.
Somebody knocked me over with a feather.
You said that.
No joking. I thought you fellas would jump up and down, you'd be so glad. I thought men and boys love puttering in gardens.
I love puttering around in gardens, but
to a reasonable
tough job to take care of a great big one.
I'm not going to be able to.
Well, we've got it now.
That
Don't forget, I have to work all day long, and I'm not going to call around all night long.
I accepted it from Miss Harris and thanked her for it. It's ours. This summer, we raise our own vegetables.
Miss Harris's unprecedented outburst of
Miss
generosity.
Harris is good as gold.
Miss Harris is probably better than gold. However, one wonders why...
Somebody knocked me over with a feather.
You've made that observation several times, Sadie.
I think I'll make it again. Somebody knocked me over with a feather. Here I come dashing home with the idea I was bringing the dandiest news in town. People look at me as if I'd made the announcement the world was coming to an end.
Your dandy news hardly involves me. I'm gainfully employed at the Consolidated Kitchenware Company. At the end of each day, I'm weary and in need of relaxation. I can't see myself grubbing around in the dirt. I can't see myself wielding spades and pitchforks and crawling on my hands and knees.
The bullet that choked Billy Patterson.
Okay. The bullet that choked Billy Patterson.
Why, how many times have we sat out on our back steps of an evening and watched people up and down the alley working in their vegetable gardens? And how many times have you made the remark you'd give anything in the world if you had a vegetable garden to work in?
I doubt if I ever made a remark that strong.
Billions of times.
My powerful craving for a vegetable garden never reached such proportions.
Well, we got a vegetable garden now. Yes, sir.
Mom, I have rather elaborate plans for this coming summer vacation, and I don't see how...
I'll bet you have. You're the party that astonishes me, Rush. I had the wild notion boys were crazy about having their own garden.
My own garden already, huh?
The bullet that choked Billy Patterson.
You might also reiterate the sentiment about somebody knocking you over with a feather.
Yes, somebody knocked me over with a feather.
You haven't as yet explained why Miss Harris decided to abandon agricultural pursuits on her own hook and relinquish her fertile acres to us.
Because she'll be busy this spring and summer. Expects to take another roomer. And she's not as young as she used to be anymore. Hard work tells on her easy.
So she generously...
Said we could have that ground she's been using for a garden all these years. Miss Gook, she says, you people get the good out of it. And it was perfectly lovely of her, too. I said, Vic and Rush will jump out of their hides. They'll be so delighted to have a garden of their own. Didn't expect to come home here with my news and see these sour faces.
Somebody knocked me over with a feather.
Yeah, somebody knocked me over with a feather.
That's a monstrous big chunk of ground over in her backyard she's been using for a garden.
Yes, it is. Very lovely and large.
An individual just about killed herself digging and spading it up.
Miss Harris is still alive, and she cultivated that chunk of ground every summer for 15 years, all by herself. Spaded, planted, hoed, watered, weeded, and everything else. All that on top of taking care of a house full of roomers. There's 3 of us. I imagine we can do it and survive.
When do people start gardens?
I don't know. When do they?
I asked you.
Spring, ain't it?
Haven't the slightest idea.
I think there's crops you plant in spring. Be something for us to inquire about. Won't it be fine to have our own homegrown vegetables on the table?
The very thought of such ecstasy unmans me.
The very thought of any work unmans you.
My work is at the offices of the Consolidated Kitchenware Company. I hardly contemplate a change this late in life. Tilling the soil is an honorable occupation, and I have nothing but the greatest respect for it. But at the same time, I don't...
See, I got my job cut out for me. Willie, don't you think it'll be fun having vegetables on the table you've raised all by yourself?
Raised all by myself is probably 100% correct.
Radishes, onions, beets, lettuce, turnips, parsnips, cabbage, rutabaga.
Peanuts, sauerkraut, cigars, cotton, wheat, barley, sugarcane, popcorn, asparagus, and butterfat.
Very, very funny.
Spinach, round steak, and bed linen.
Very, very funny.
No, but seems to me Ma Harris's dainty gift is a little on the white elephant side.
Just what do you mean by that?
She hands us what amounts to a 90-acre farm and sweetly suggests we break our backs turning over 40 square miles of rich, fertile earth.
The stretch of ground along Razor Scum's fence there, I don't believe, takes up 90 acres. I also doubt very much if it's 40 square miles.
Plenty of territory, though, Ma'am. Holy smoke, take a guy a week to spade it all up.
Miss Harris spades it all up. A frail little woman.
Since when was she frail?
Frailer than she used to be.
Yeah, paid the way to a ton.
At any rate, she's a woman.
I'd say.
And she managed to spade up that patch of garden year in and year out. Be funny if 2 monstrous big men like you 2 couldn't do it.
I don't mind so much the idea of a garden, Ma'am. If it was decent size. Take Miss Husher's garden now.
You mean where she grows them sweet peas?
Yeah.
That's your speed, huh?
Yeah.
Ever notice that little smidgen of ground where Miss Husher puts in sweet peas?
No.
About the size of that hall carpet there.
Sure. Miss Harris's darn garden's about the size of the state of Indiana. Another thing is, we'll have to put out a lot of money. We got no hoes and rakes and spades and pitchforks.
That's another lovely thing. She's going to lend us hers. Hoes, spades, shovels, pitchforks, sprinkling cans, and the whole works. And of course, in order to balance up the ledger, we'll be expected to do a few favors on our side.
Split the crops, huh?
Exactly. And is that any more than fair? We'll give her all the lettuce, radishes, and onions and dope she can use.
Miss Harris, old sock, here's your cut. 9 olives, 6 cranberries, 11 mushmelons, 14 seashells, and a nice spare tire.
No, but is it any more than fair?
My suggestion for an equitable solution to the matter is to give Ma Harris her vast acres back on the silver platter.
Oh, no.
Thunder Sade, we won't be hard up for vegetables this summer. You can buy vegetables at the grocery store for next to nothing. When radishes are in season, you can look in at Croucher's and carry home enough to choke a horse for a nickel.
Sure.
Same thing with onions and cabbage and junk.
Croucher sell a bundle of green onions for a dime you could stuff a mattress with.
What's the sense in spending the fine evenings in the summertime laying on your stomach in the dirt over in Ma Harris's backyard?
What's the sense in breaking your back trying to grow a head of cabbage when you can buy a head of cabbage the size of a piano for 5 cents?
Yeah, and what's the sense
in
in
spending
taking the
a lot of
whole
money and
summertime
time when
just to
it's
raise
so
a
easy
baby
Might
to
as well
walk
save
downtown
your
worth
breath.
Get all the vegetables you can
that you
carry.
could buy
Might
for-
as well save your breath. The matter is all settled.
Don't have to be settled.
Yes, it does.
No.
Yes.
But
Holy smoke, a guy don't expect to spend
and
a
inconvenience.
time day working
la,
all day
ridiculous to
long at
even
all.
think of
La,
going
la,
to
la,
Come
la,
home
la,
and
la,
grab...
Shucks.
Tra-la-la-la-la-la-la. Thing that beats me is you fellas taking this attitude. I thought men and boys loved having their own garden. I come rushing over here thinking you'd jump through the ceiling, you'd be so happy. And then to see these sour faces.
Somebody knocked me over with a feather.
Yes, somebody knocked me over with a feather.
Which concludes another brief interlude at the small house halfway up in the next block.